How are you coming along, your rehab, and how you feeling?
Feeling good. Coming along, been progressing throughout camp, getting more and more plays in, getting more into full days of practices, and now I'm back into the full rotation of things. So feeling good right now.
Do you think you'll play in preseason game 3? Did you need to play in preseason game 3?
That's kind of something I've been just trusting the training staff and the coaches to make the decisions on. They put me in great position so far, just letting me get back and getting my feeling and everything. So whenever they call on me to use me, that's when I'll play.
Would you feel comfortable going into September 12th without having played in preseason snap?
Yeah, we did it last year. Didn't have any preseason. Everybody had to go through and make it work. So, whenever my number is called, I'm ready. I'm just controlling what I can control right now. Every day trying to make sure that I'm getting back and able to help the team how I can.
How long did it take to knock the rust off last year? First quarter, second quarter, week 2?
Quarters. In this league, it's kind of the same thing you have whether you're in the preseason or not, right? You get in, you have a play, you have a quick couple seconds in there where you have to see, okay, what felt good, what didn't feel good, what worked, what didn't. You have to make the adjustments, and I think being somebody who's played as long as I have, I'm kind of expected to make the adjustments a little bit quicker.
Have you been watching much of the Vikings? Have you been watching much of the Vikings?
No, I have not to this point yet.
I was going to ask, do you think it'd be different though coming off an injury? Would that make a difference in maybe wanting more of that opportunity in the preseason?
Sure, but you know what? Being in the position I am, it really just puts a premium on the reps that I'm getting here at practice. Like you said, I haven't played in the first 2 preseason games, so I really, really, really have to make big emphasis on nailing down my specific techniques and my footwork and things in practice, since I haven't got those reps before, like I said.
At what point in training camp did you feel comfortable with your knee and feel like, okay, I feel good about all my movements and everything like that?
Say that one more time.
At what point in training camp did you feel good about the knee and all your movements and feel comfortable with everything?
I think coming into training camp, I felt comfortable, and of course you take those first couple of days and you're like, oh well, this doesn't feel as good as I would have hoped it would have felt, And it's been kind of a thing where every day you see what didn't feel good the day before feels a little bit better typically. And like I said, the training staff and the coaches have done a great job in just monitoring my load as I've come back. So early on we started where I would go a day, and then the next day they would kind of taper me off and just do individual only, and then kind of alternate like that. That's how we started camp. So it gave me a really good opportunity to really push it for a day, feel it. And I'm like, oh, that didn't really feel too great. And then the next day, just, only do individual, really nail down those techniques and things, have a day without any competition against the D-line, and then come back the next day and do the same thing over again. So, yeah.
A lot of interest outside this building, who the starting guards are going to be. How eager are you to find out who's going to be on your left and who's going to be on your right?
Very. It's definitely been a competition. I think there's been some great competition between those guys. I think there's been a lot of improvement between week 1 preseason and week 2 preseason from the guys inside that are battling for that spot.
How easy is it to slip into comfort with guys like Quentin and Xavier, who have played, over hundreds of starts in this league, as compared to maybe a rookie who you're maybe a little bit more wondering what they're going to do on day 1?
In either circumstance, there'll definitely be an adjustment. Like you said, Q and X definitely have a lot more snaps than a rookie would have. That's why the onus is on the rookies to really have your stuff straight. And if you get put in a position as a rookie where you're starting, obviously you've shown that to the coaches, you've shown that to your teammates, that you have what it takes to be out there. So it wouldn't be a huge concern.
What do you need to see as teammates to be comfortable with the rookie going out there?
To be honest, just do the things that Pollock's asked of all of us. Pollock there's a very high standard set in the room, and if you can reach that and you can improve him, you can impress him enough to show that you should be the starter, then there's no reason that I would have to doubt it.
You guys have a lot of camaraderie on the offensive line. Sharing that knowledge with younger guys, how rewarding is that for you to be in a position to share and pass that on?
It's a great position to be in. I had a lot of people that helped me when I first got here that made a huge difference, I think, in my career, whether it be Whitworth, Zeiler, Andre Smith. I had a lot of older veteran guys that were already in place and pass down, just little drops of knowledge all throughout practice, all throughout camp, and things like that. It makes a huge difference. And just having guys to let you know when you have days that aren't so great, because we all have them. Let them know you're not the first person to have a bad block. You're not the first person to get beat. You're not the first person to screw up, have a mental error. You're not the first person to do those things. And just giving little nuggets and how do you recoup? How do you regroup? How do you come back the next play? How do you let that go and just make the adjustment and just come back and be the person that you're supposed to be? So I think I'm in a good position where I can do that right now.
What is your
impressed
view
with the training camp that Deontay Smith has had?
Definitely. Deontay Smith has had a very impressive camp. He's a hard worker. You can tell he's a guy that's really in his books. He knows what he needs to do. And whenever he's given a task, just the adjustment he has to make from coming in initially just training at tackle to moving down to guard, I think he's done a tremendous job. And it's a credit to him and his work ethic.
How would you characterize your relationship with Billy? How do you guys talk back and forth, watching him play during the preseason, taking those snaps?
Billy's a great friend of mine. That's how I would characterize our relationship, and I'm happy for him. He's really taking advantage of this opportunity. He's playing well. I'm really excited to see him out there and leading the group. I think he's doing a great job.
Trace, are you under the assumption you're playing the opener? Is that 100% for you, or do you not know?
I am preparing. I'm preparing as if I'm getting called on to play this preseason game, and if I'm not, then that's what it is. But my stance and my preparation has not changed. I'm preparing to be back and be 100% and be the Trey Hopkins that I've been over the past couple of years, and that is my preparation, and that's really all I can control right now. So that's kind of just where I'm keeping my mind at. And when my number is called, when they say 66, we need you to go in there, whether that's week 1, week 8, whenever that is, whether it's this preseason game coming up, then that's when I'll be ready.
What's that about for you? Is that as much about conditioning, knowing that you'll be ready to do a full game, probably in the heat in September, or is it about, that confidence in your knee, not having that, this day in practice didn't feel as good as the day before stuff?
Definitely more so than knee.
Yeah.
The conditioning comes the first couple games, whether I would have been doing the preseason games or not, starters don't normally play too much of this. So conditioning is still something you have to get used to over the first couple of games. So definitely the knee would, I would say, be a little bit more of something I'm concerned about. But like I said, I'm feeling good. I'm confident in the plan that the training staff and the coach staff put in place for me. And I'm just preparing it every way I can to be ready when they call on me.
How much are you still doing with Nick?
Every day.
Every day, still on the side. Is it like before or after? Or
before. That's how I start my day.
Okay.
So I come in. My first thing I do is I just get with Nick, see what we're doing today. We're always doing something, keep the quad activating, keep the knee moving, and then he checks in to me, say I'm feeling that day. What do we need to do? Any extra modalities or things like that? But every day with Nick still.
Yeah. Is it less and less a little bit as you go along, or is it still kind of?
It's definitely less than I was doing in the off season, but it's still a pretty substantial amount. Just because it's important to keep the quad firing throughout this whole thing, and not to lose any kind of muscular gain that I got over the off season when I was just doing pretty much leg day every day.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the answer. I actually got to reach out to Clint and ask him, as somebody who came back from an ACL injury, and just ask him if he had any tips or pointers for things. And he said the biggest thing that helped him was just to stay on his quad strengthening as if he was still in the early stages of rehab. And he said he kept with that all throughout camp, all throughout the season. So it worked for him. And trust him.
Has there been a silver lining for you, Trey, like maybe a stronger upper body, focusing on that as you've been rehabbing?
Silver lining might more so be mental than physical. This has been a tough process, and it's been a challenge, and it's helped me to get to maybe make decisions that I didn't make before. I'll say my first injury, when I broke my tibia the first time, I would say I didn't attack it quite the way I needed to. I kind of took you're clear and just went away and was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes, and didn't really do anything with it. I think this time gives me opportunity, being older, I feel like I know how to rehab my body a little bit better. I know how to take care of my body better. I know how to do those things. And I also know how to give myself a little bit of grace. You know what I'm saying? Things aren't perfect as soon as you step out just because you've been cleared. And I think before, where I kind of shut down, now I'm kind of able to say, okay, quiet all that noise in your mind, quiet all that, and just really look at it objectively. What are you in control of? And whatever you're in control of, that is what you pour yourself into. You go 100% at that kind of stuff.
Do you think you and Joe need a preseason, a couple of reps in the preseason game to, ensure your operation is smooth, or do you get that enough based on what you guys were able to do last year?
I would say we have a pretty good relationship with that, just based on what we were able to do last year, and we're still getting those reps in practice. The thing that changes in the games, you're on the stage, you got the big lights going on and things like that, but neither one of us are on our first snaps in the NFL. So I don't expect either of us to have those kind of issues be a problem.
I think if you do start, it'll be a third straight opening day start.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one, it was crazy in Seattle. The second one, there was nobody here.
Mm-hmm.
What would you advise a guy like Dante, Jackson Carmen, these guys going into their first opener? What would be your advice to them?
Realize it's still just football. The stage is bigger for some people. Some people it's smaller, but it's what you work for your whole life since you started playing football. Enjoy it. I said this before the preseason game. Enjoy the stage, but at the end of the day, realize it is just football. Trust what you've been coached to do. Trust what you can do. Trust that you deserve to be in the spot that you are in, whether you are the starter, whether you are coming off the bench, whatever it is. The fact that you're on the field means that you have the trust of your teammates, you have the trust of the coaching staff, and that you're on that field for a reason. And just go out and just play to that potential.
Is there anything unique about an opener? Is there anything it's different than the other 15?
Yeah, just because it's the true first real play. It's the first real hit. Preseason, yeah, you get that, but when everything's really counting, when the wins and losses count a lot more, you get a true kind of first surge. So energies might be a little higher. Typically they are, but it's still football. It's just football at the end of the day.
You think back to your first time going on the NFL field, that moment,
Mm-hmm.
you still feel that way every year, we're getting close to that first game again. Is it still the same kind of excitement?
The excitement is the same. The dread is a lot less. That first time you get on the field, I remember just being shook, just being like I said, you want to enjoy the stage, but it is easy to let it be a lot bigger than it is. That's why I keep repeating. You have to remember, it is just football at the end of the day. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah, you got the NFL logos going on. You got a whole bunch of TV timeouts. You got a whole bunch of people under hoods and a lot of personnel on the sidelines and stuff like that. But it is still the same football you've been playing since Pee-wee, middle school, all of that. And when you can eliminate everything else besides the field, things get so much better. You still have a little anxiety before that first snap. You still have the excitement definitely leading up to the games. You're sitting in the locker room, listening to your music, whatever you're doing. You still have those feelings, those butterflies. But the fear of, oh my God, this is my NFL game, I'm going against NFL players, that goes away after your first couple games, I'll say.
What's your tried and true playlist?
What's my true playlist?
Yeah, what's your...
Ooh, it depends from year to year. Some years I'm actually listening to music. Some years I'm listening to podcasts. Last year was a lot of podcasts. It was a lot of podcasts. True crime podcasts. My personal favorite is My Favorite Murder. It's a true crime podcast called My Favorite Murder. It's another, there's a fringe science podcast I like to listen to. Last podcast on the left, like I said, fringe science, true crime, stuff like that. That's what I was on last year. Previous to that, it's been everything from gospel to Kanye. It just really depends. It just depends how I'm feeling.
Joe said he's been lobbying to get on the field against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the lobbying type to potentially get some preseason reps?
I am the type to just go as I am told. As right now, I'm being told to get myself together and to be prepared, and that's all I'm doing right now. Is just getting myself together and making sure I'm prepared. And if Zach tells me I'm playing this week, then I'm playing this week. If he doesn't, then I'm not.
When you were Joseph Osai got hurt, how long you got to know him as a Texas guy? Or was he not here at all? Or?
Not too much. I can't say that I know him too well.
Yeah, you got hurt your rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like? What's the toughest thing that you deal with when you're a rookie and you want to impress, and now you got to sit here and stay on the side? What's the toughest part of that?
For me, it was feeling like everything is up in the air and you have no idea where you stand. Because I mean, so much of your rookie year, you have no control over anything. You feel like you're being tossed by the wind. You don't know what your next day is going to look like, let alone how you're going to come out of camp. And to get hurt in camp just puts even more uncertainty on everything. Because now you're like, well, the one thing I could control, which was how I was doing on the field, I'm no longer on the field. I don't have that anymore. So it really, it's not a good position to be in. It's tough. I could just advise, just keep your head up and then trust that things are going to work out how they're supposed to.
Well, you were undrafted. I mean, you probably were wondering like if you would even stick around, right?
Yeah. I was in the hotel room with my mom. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be going. I might be going back home to Texas with you. I don't know what's going to happen. So.